Welcome back to another unboxing, posting review. Today we'll be taking a look at ARC Trooper 5 from Star Wars: The Clone Wars by Hot Toys. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm a huge Star Wars fan and my favorite era is the prequels and especially the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars is such a good show, and if you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. But when it comes to collecting, my favorite figures to get are Clone Wars figures. I have Rex, Cody, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Anakin, all in the Clone Wars era. Then I have a couple Clone Wars villains and even more Clone Wars figures on order. Although of course there's tons of clones, the ones that I picked up recently over Black Friday are ARC Trooper 5s and ARC Trooper Echoes. So today we're looking at 5s, but definitely keep an eye out for Echo in the future. But real quick, if you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on the bell notification to be notified when more videos go live. But now, let's get into it. As you all know, every good unboxing must start with the box, and this one, it's a boring black Star Wars box. But you know, it still looks cool because we have an image of the figure right up here looking awesome. Then the wraparound banner is actually blue and yellow. I kind of like that color scheme. It just kind of pops. Then over here, you can see an unmasked image of 5s. In my opinion, that is one of the cooler things that comes with 5s and Echo is the head sculpts, because you even get rolling eyeballs, which we don't have for many other clones. So of course, now the challenging part is I'll have to figure out if I want to use the head sculpt or the helmet. But let's be real, that helmet looks awesome. Going to the side of the box, you can see him with that rocket launcher looking cool. I'm kind of excited to see all the weaponry he comes with. On the back, a bunch of info if you want to read. And then over here, the rest of the wraparound banner. Looking at the top, it's the same as the bottom, just says Star Wars. Now we want to open this thing up, and okay, this box is a little stuck. All right, there we go. And we can see some gorgeous slip art in there. There's 5s with his rocket launcher looking cool. And man, that unmasked head sculpt is so cool. I love the little 5 on his forehead. That just looks amazing. And you can see all the other Hot Toys figures they made from the 501st in the background, like Rex. Then you have Jesse over here, and yeah, this just looks awesome. I really hope they give us another 501st figure soon, because if they do it in a similar way to how they just did the 212th figure, that would be pretty awesome. The deluxe was like the extra helmet and everything. Yeah, that would just be so cool. But now we have 5s laying here. We can go ahead and pop this one off first. And in that little tray is his rocket launcher, a couple hands, his thermal detonators. And now we took that top plastic piece off and we can see the figure in there. I always love how the ARC Troopers look, so I am so excited. Just taking them out real quick. Man, that is such a cool design. I know I've said it in the past, the 212 is my favorite color scheme because orange is my all-time favorite color. But you guys probably can tell, blue's my second. I mean, just look at my channel logo and stuff. So the 501st color scheme is amazing. And I'm so glad that they just contrast perfectly with the 212s. Because, you know, these are Anakin's guys, the 501st, and then the 212s is Obi-Wan's. So that, for me, that's just perfect. But now I got to get the rest of the stuff out and we'll take a look at it all. 5s comes with the usual array of clone accessories, but he does have some cool extras. Starting things off with his base. It's the typical rectangular Star Wars one, but there's a bunch of scratches in the top, and I actually really like that. That looks pretty cool. You see on the nameplate, it says Star Wars ARC Trooper 5s. Then you do get a wider scoop crotch grabber that just pegs into here, so let's see how easy this is to do today, and yeah, not too bad. Next, let's look at his hands and just grab one to take a look at. So you can see that beautiful blue color on the armor plating for the hands, and then the black gloves look pretty good as well. The fingers are pretty pliable. You can see there's a little bit of like wrinkling detail and everything in there. And yeah, these look pretty good. You get a left and right trigger finger hand, a left and right pointing hand where the left one points with 1 finger and the right one points with 2 fingers and the thumb's kind of up. Then you also get that open palm style hand. And on the figure right out of the box, you get a left and right relaxed style hand. Now let's look at the backpack that 5s comes with. This looks very good. It's magnetic, so it just pops right onto his back very nicely. Then you can see all the sculpted detail in here for all these panels, and then you can see a bunch of like tools or something on the left. I don't know what all these do exactly, but if you do know, definitely let me know down in the comments. And just to show you the backpack installation, it's magnetic, so it just pops on his back like that. It's pretty strong as well, so I don't really have any worry about it falling off. The next piece we'll take a look at is 5's chest pouch. It looks pretty good. There's like some foam or something inside to give it its shape. And if those buttons fall off, I'm going to be mad because I hate putting those back on. But like I mentioned, it's just magnetic, so it just pops right under his chest. And if you want, you could rotate it a little bit, do whatever you want. But I'm going to leave mine kind of straight like that. Now for another component of 5's armor, the rangefinder. Of course, it's going to be able to rotate on his helmet, go up and down, and it actually looks pretty good. You can see some detail in there for like where the screen would be, and I kind of like that. To install this on 5's helmet, you need to pop out that little side piece, and you can just use the include tool. So you can get this in there and push it out. And once you pop the rangefinder in there, it looks pretty good on the side of his helmet. You of course can rotate it down, make it look like he's actually using it, or rotate it back up. Now that we have it in hand, let's just look at Five's helmet. I love the blue color up here for the fin, and I love that paint job all around it. You can see it's kind of not pristine, it's just a little scratched up along the edges. Then he has like the 2 red dots, that little triangular piece there. This looks very good. That paint goes all the way to the back. You can see that every clone kind of painted their own armor to make them a little bit more individual, which is one reason I love the Clone Wars. So you can really tell that they just painted over their armor because of how messy it looks and how it gets like kind of chipped and scratched up in battle and everything. And speaking of which, his helmet is very nicely weathered. It does not look pristine at all. There's a bunch of weathering up here, all along the helmet and the crevices. Yeah, this looks very, very messed up in such a cool way. I just love how that looks. He looks amazing. Looking at his head sculpt now, yeah, that's Five's. You can see the bit of the beard, you can see the 5 up there on his forehead. The likeness is really, really good. And the one thing that's cool about this, which not a lot of other clones have, is the rolling eyeball feature. So you can actually move his eyes to look off to one side or something, kind of whatever you want to do. And I really like that. So Five's and Echo, since they both have the rolling eyes feature, I may be a bit tempted to put them without the actual helmets. But then again, we just looked at the helmet and it looks amazing. So if I go that route, you guys know I'll have to put the helmet on the base to display it, but this looks good. Even the like flat top up there. This figure also comes with Five's tablet, which looks pretty nice. He's the blue dot, red dot, you know, probably tracking an enemy or something. There's a bunch of sculpted detail here. You can feel all the buttons and everything down below. There's a bunch of fins along the edges. The back's a bit boring, but this tablet just looks pretty good. Of course, that screen's just a sticker, but we'll let it slide because it gets the job done. Now let's start looking at Five's weaponry. He gets the half thermal detonator that he can just stick on a droid, stick on a wall or something and detonate it, or the ball thermal detonator that they can just roll or throw or whatever they need. Five's comes with 2 DC-17 blasters. These are pretty nicely detailed. You can see some chipping and weathering all up in that paintwork. Then he comes with the DC-15, which also has some nice weathering and everything all around it. And my favorite weapon he comes with, the giant blaster rocket launcher. That looks amazing. It also has some nice little weathering all around it with that nice gunmetal paint finish. Then that sculpt work looks really good. You can see the little scope there. I kind of love that. This looks kind of amazing. I love the green that they put in there for the scope too. This is definitely going to go with them. Of course, it also depends on what Echo comes with, but yeah, I'm definitely thinking Fives is going to be holding this. Now let's look at Fives in more detail, and you can see I popped the head sculpt on him. One thing the Hot Toys did to make this head sculpt look even better on the body, they actually gave us a skin tone neck. So you see the skin tone neck poking out there underneath the black outfit, and that is very nice. You'll see it because we're going to do a little comparison. But for Captain Rex, they didn't give him a skin tone neck, so he looks kind of weird when you actually put the head sculpt on him, but you'll see that coming up. So you can see for the ARC Troopers, they have the pauldrons where it's kind of like symmetrical on both sides, although they're different colors. Then look at the chest armor. I love how this looks. You see kind of this arrow look going down that's blue. You see all that weathering and the darker gray on here. Then for the chest armor, it's actually a little elevated. So you can see here, I can actually fit part of my finger under there, and the same for down here. Like, this is just really cool. I love all the customization on clones, and these ARC Troopers, man, they just have so much extra detail. Like, even just looking at his arm, he has a similar look up here with that blue stripe as Captain Rex, but then down here on the gauntlet, it's blue, but it has a nice kind of charcoaly gray on it. That looks so good. Then for his other side, this is also cool. It's similar up top, but then his gauntlet, are those whistling birds? They look like whistling birds compared to my Mandalorian figures, but I don't know if they ever use that. If you know for sure what that is and where it's actually used in the show, let me know, because now I'm really curious and I couldn't really find any specific info. But the colors for the buttons on his gauntlet just pop. They look really good, and going down, his hip skirts look also really nice. You can see the most likely, unfortunately, pleather little connector here that kind of holds on his pouches on the sides. It's the same, it goes all the way around to the back, and it looks like it just holds these pouches. Looks pretty cool, pretty accurate, but if it's pleather, unfortunately, it might degrade, which kind of sucks. But the hip skirts look and feel very nice. They're not wired, unfortunately, but I do love the kind of blue arrow design on them. And you can see along his belt, there's some more pouches along the back, and you can see the holsters. The holsters are just held on with these little straps, so they just kind of hang there. They can wobble around a bunch, and yep, apparently the pistol is not too secure in there. But I do like it. They're kind of more positioned in the back as compared to Captain Rex, I believe. When we do that comparison, we'll verify, but I do like it. This figure just looks so good. Then, of course, I have the backpack on him. You can see a thermal detonator on the back. Going down, the paint job and the weathering on the shin armor down here is so nice. I mean, even that sculpt work, man, this looks so good. Just, yeah, take a second to admire that. I love the blue and gray stripes, the way it elevates in there. Yeah, that's so good. Then the charcoal gray down here on the boots. Yeah, this figure, he looks amazing. And yes, the pistol fell out again. Now we can do this side by side with Fives and Captain Rex. And you can see the head sculpts, they both look pretty good. I just kind of wish Captain Rex had the actual rolling eyeballs. And looking at the figures from the side, you can really see what I'm talking about. Rex, his head sculpt looks a bit more unnatural because there's no skin tone. It's just that sock. And then Fives, he looks a lot better because of that skin tone. Then looking at their outfits, their blues are slightly different. Fives has a bit of a lighter blue and Captain Rex has a bit of a darker blue, but I still love how they look together. Also in Clone Wars, Captain Rex always kind of had a green tint to his armor, so that looks pretty good, pretty accurate here. However, I am planning on getting that Ahsoka Rex and most likely moving this Rex out of my collection. Of course, when that Ahsoka one comes in, I'll make my final decision to determine if that one is much better than this Rex. But I think the Ahsoka one also doesn't have that green tint, so yeah, we're gonna have to see how he matches my other clones because I think his blasters are also different and stuff. So if he looks too different, maybe I just won't keep him and actually just keep this Rex. But of course, we gotta wait for him to come in to determine that. But looking here at the holsters, yeah, they both just kind of hang down. The hip skirts are a similar material than just going down. Yeah, these two figures are gonna look great on the shelf together. Of course, when we do that Echo review, we'll do some more comparisons between the armor, but I want to compare some more head sculpts. So looking at Fives compared to the head sculpt for Commander Cody, the Fives head sculpt looks a bit smoother. Of course they're clones, but this kind of makes sense because the Fives one is just from the animated show, and then the Commander Cody one is from live action. So his being a bit more detailed kind of makes sense. Yeah, you can kind of see a little bit more up close right there. And now comparing him to Jango Fett's head sculpt, which is also another live action look. Yeah, it's the same thing. The one on the right looks a bit more live action-y, no rolling eyeballs or anything, unfortunately, but the left one definitely looks like it's more from the animated show. Now we can compare Fives' helmet to Captain Rex, and both are similar, but different. The paint jobs on both are a bit different, and Captain Rex's helmet is very unique because he actually welded some different pieces together. You can see all the weld marks in there. Also, Captain Rex doesn't have a fin on top, and I'm a pretty big fan of that fin on Fives. The blues are different, there's different designs all around it, and yeah, both look very good. They're gonna look awesome together in the collection. For the first pose, I wanted to do at least one pose where Fives is unhelmeted, where he's just holding the helmet and just looking kind of chill. I know when I do some more action poses, I definitely want him to be helmeted, so I'll probably lean that way in my display, but I really like that he can actually hold the helmet. It looks really good. Then of course I'm just holding the tablet and I'm testing out to see how he can stand on his own without the base, and he stands pretty good. Then for this pose, I'm sure we all know that Fives is the almost unsung hero of the Clone Wars. He uncovered the inhibitor chips and he tried telling the Jedi, tried exposing the big conspiracy, and then yeah, he was taken out by Fox. It was very unfortunate and a very sad way for Fives to go out. He was so awesome. Fives, we're gonna miss him. But for now, I can have him looking awesome in my collection. So we're gonna do a few more poses, of course, but I'm just gonna give you guys my final thoughts. So ARC Trooper Fives, is he worth it? For me, yes, because I love the Clone Wars and I love the 501st and 212th a lot. Of course, you know, because it's Anakin and Obi-Wan's armies respectively. So whenever I can get my hands on some of those, I gotta do it, especially the name troopers like Fives. I even got a pretty good discount for Black Friday on him as well. So for me, he has a little bit more value there, but I wanted him anyway. Of course, there's some clones I missed, like Jesse, for example, that I kind of still want. I might have to look on the aftermarket or something. It just depends. I still want to get Wolf because he's still up for PO, but then again, I kind of want to wait for him to release because maybe I can get another discount on him in the future, kind of like I just did for these ones. We'll just have to see, but I definitely like the name clones a bit more than some of the just standard issue clones. But basically, now that we finished reviewing ARC Trooper Fives, we're going to have to look at Echo. So keep an eye on the channel for that review. It'll be coming up pretty soon. But for now, I'm going to get Fives in my display right next to Rex, right behind Anakin, and just looking so cool. So of course, though, I want to hear your guys' opinions. So let me know down in the comments what you think of ARC Trooper Fives. Is he worth it for you? Do you have him? And just give me all your overall thoughts. And definitely give the video a like to help push out to a larger audience. And if you enjoy content like this, definitely subscribe because we do tons of it over here. As always, a special shout out to the channel members. I look forward to talking to you guys again very soon. But until next time, stay 6 scale.